This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man, how the heck are you? Happy freaking Monday. Yeah, it is. It feels like next Monday already. On the Monty Show, why have the Utah Jazz and the New York Knicks not made a Donovan deal? We'll talk a lot of Utah Jazz basketball this morning. Breaking news out of the NBA on a potential new destination for Cadizzle. Where is Kevin Durant going, and why have the Brooklyn Nets not made a KD deal? What deal gets done first, the Utah Jazz and Donovan Mitchell or the Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant? I think now as time goes on, more and more as we get deeper into this, I truly think that Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz may be partners for another year. And if you're a New York Knicks fan, that may not be the worst thing in the world. We got to talk about that. Oh, don't forget, we are sending you to see the BYU Cougars. Nothing? To see the BYU Cougars.
There we go.
In Las Vegas, taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish at Allegiant Stadium on October 8th. It's all brought to you by our good friend Devfrey Davis at Academy Mortgage. Make sure you call him. I'm telling you, you can afford a mortgage. You can afford the down payment because Devry Davis is going to help you hook it up. Call him today, 801-543-9666. Devry Davis, NMLS number 278545, is an equal housing lender, and he is your presenting sponsor for the BYU Drive Away to see BYU and Notre Dame in Las Vegas on November 8th. Let's start talking Donovan Mitchell and the Knicks. And again, this question I just asked, does Donovan Mitchell make the New York Knicks Eastern Conference contenders? And why have the New York Knicks and the Utah Jazz not made a deal? And I think it is very simply because the Utah Jazz have not come off their spot when it comes to Donovan Mitchell, and they are asking for an extremely high bar. And when I say they, I mean Danny Ainge is asking for an extremely large return. And the latest that we heard over the weekend was that the Knicks and Jazz got clarity from the NBA at some point late last week on what assets were actually available for the Knicks to trade as far as draft picks go, and that is what triggered the trade is imminent. When in fact no trade was imminent at that point. It was simply a matter of clarification with the NBA as to what the Knicks were able to trade, and we find out that they are actually able to trade all 8 picks that they own. But Danny Ainge wants 6 of those 8s. At no time, from what I'm told, has Danny Ainge asked for 8 draft picks. He's asked for 6. And essentially, the Knicks and the Jazz are in agreement on the fact that Emmanuel Quickley is going to be traded as part of this deal with Grimes and Toppin. And it's simply a matter now of figuring out, hey, is it Evan Fournier? With most people believe that it will be. And how many picks? The Jazz want 6. The Knicks want to offer 4. And Jake, if I'm Danny Ainge, I'm not coming off of that ask.
Yeah, why would you? I mean, this is what we've been saying for the last 2 weeks, I feel like. You know, if you're Danny Ainge and you're the Utah Jazz, why would you come off your asking price? You don't need to trade Donovan right now. You certainly, you don't have to trade Donovan Mitchell. And I think that a lot of people think that the Utah Jazz are desperate to trade Donovan Mitchell. They think because Donovan Mitchell's jersey was on the former players rack that the deal is done. They think that because somebody reported it on the radio that the deal is done. And what I'm telling you is that the deal's not done. What I'm telling you is that the deal is not close to being done because of the asking price and because of what how far apart they are. Danny wants to get 6 picks out of this. The Knicks don't want to give 6 picks. It's a classic, hey, I want this, you don't want to give me that situation. And if I'm Danny Ainge, if I'm the Utah Jazz, I'm not budging. Make the Knicks compromise. Make Leon compromise and sacrifice. Make them do what you want them to do. And I'm telling you, Danny Ainge is a wizard at this stuff. And I know that this conversation in Utah Jazz land is probably a little bit tired. If you're a Utah Jazz fan, there's probably some burnout talking about when the organization's going to trade your best player and Donovan Mitchell, a building block of an organization. But I just think, like, look, man, if you're going to come beating down our door about Donovan Mitchell, you damn well better be ready to give up most of your organization to do it. And I think the Knicks want a discount. And I agree with the strategy. You're not giving anybody a discount on Donovan Mitchell.
I don't know that I like the word discount. And I don't think it's nitpicking. I actually think it's pretty significant. I think the Knicks and Leon Rose want to give up 4 picks. I think Danny Ainge wants 6 picks and pick swaps. I think that that's a crazy amount of compensation for a player of Donovan Mitchell's caliber. And that's not a slight to Don. That is not disrespecting Donovan Mitchell. Facts are facts. Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, has not shown that he's worth 6 first-round picks. I think that's insanity. And if you're Leon Rose, I think the problem is you likely understand you need to make this deal. Like this deal really, in my opinion, would bring Knicks fans back to the Garden in droves. I mean, again, Donovan Mitchell, as we're well aware, is a Westchester County kid. This is a New Yorker through and through. His dad works for the Mets. Like, this is everything that you want in a trade.
Facts.
But I also think if you're Leon Rose, you can't give up 6 picks and 3 young players, plus Evan Fournier to get this deal done. I think it's too much. And I think the best trade that Leon Rose can make here, if I'm being quite honest, is no trade at all. I think if you are the New York Knicks and the asking price is 3 youngs, a vet, and 6 first-round picks, the answer is no. We're not doing that. And I think that Leon Rose is being a very smart executive here, because as much as you need to make this trade, I don't believe that you can afford to make this trade if you're the New York Knicks. And if you're Danny Ainge, I think you're handling this trade exactly right. You have no need to trade Donovan Mitchell. Regardless of what people tell you or rumors, Donovan Mitchell has never demanded a trade. He's not making it difficult. He's not making it uncomfortable. He's not talking about not showing up. Donovan Mitchell is doing everything the New York Knicks and the Utah Jazz need him to do, which is he's busting his ass to get better this offseason. There is no hurry to make this deal. And if I was a betting man and I had to put ducats on the table right now, I'd probably say this is a matter of when, not if. But also, if I'm Leon Rose, I'm not giving up 6 picks. I'm just not. I think that the biggest issue is, and I know we talked about this on Friday, but I go back to the question of, does this make the New York Knicks this deal? If you give up Toppin, Grimes, Quickly, Fournier, and 6 first-round picks, are you an Eastern Conference contender? And I think, Jake, the answer is unequivocally, no, you are not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough. Like, I think that, you can't forget that you have Jalen Brunson. You can't forget that you have, and I know it's Julius Randle. There's drama. Like, it's Julius. I totally get it. That comes with some baggage. I'm with you. But I think you've got talent. Now, do I think that they're going to win the Eastern Conference? No, I don't. I think that we've seen it time and time again in the NBA, obviously most notably with the Brooklyn Nets, that when you just throw talent together, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go out and win your conference, let alone get to the NBA Finals. I mean, we've seen that repeatedly. And so I think it's a tough situation, but I agree with you. Like, if you're Leon Rose, this is a deal you have to do, but you have to do it in a way where you're not getting fleeced by Danny Ainge. And so my thing is, when I'm saying that, hey, he wants a discount, what I mean by that is like, hey, like, Danny's said, hey, this is the price. Don't come back to Danny Ainge looking for 4 first-round picks when you know that that's not going to get the deal done. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that Leon is like trying to, not do, like, trying to get a discount. I just feel like Leon Rose knows the price and stop banging down the door with 4 picks if you know it's 6.
Well, I also think that there's a real good chance this deal doesn't get done. I mean, I can see it both ways. It's very difficult. I can tell you in my career, I've been a part of a lot of these situations where people talk and rumors, and this has been one of the more difficult situations to navigate when it comes to what's going on behind the scenes, because I think Leon Rose is being incredibly not even close to the vest, tight to the vest, like inside the vest, right? He's not a guy that is media friendly, which In today's NBA, I think there's a lot of value in that. I think Leon Rose is a guy that is navigating this very well. And I think we don't have a whole lot of idea about how much they're willing to pay. And from what I understand and what Jazz sources are telling me, the New York Knicks are not willing to pay more than 4 first-round picks. And the tough part is I actually think that's the right price for Don. There is no reason for the Knicks to pay more than that because you're not winning a championship based on this trade. You have to have those other, 4 first-round picks. If you give up 4, you've still got 4 more. That gives you leverage to go out and make another deal that makes you a better player. By the way, I don't know if anybody saw, but John Collins did not look exactly stellar at the Drew this weekend. I think his value is quite low. If I'm the Knicks, that's a deal with Atlanta that I would be looking at.
There are options.
There are options out there, but not if you give up 6 first-round picks. There just isn't, and I think that's the hard part. If you are the New York Knicks, it's how close are you? Because I also look at this situation, and I say to myself, I don't know that you have a championship caliber head coach in New York. I don't know that you have an owner in Jimmy Dolan that's willing to do what's got to be done to win a championship. So bringing Donovan Mitchell in now doesn't feel like the move that puts you over the top. Mm-hmm. And if I'm giving up 6 first-round picks, or let's say 4 first-round picks, it better win me a championship. I mean, you understood this with the Minnesota Timberwolves Rudy Gobert deal.
Yeah.
I understood why they made that deal. I think most people understood why the Minnesota Timberwolves made that deal. They made that deal because they felt like that brought them closer to a championship.
Yep.
They made that deal because, in all likelihood, they are much closer to a championship than they were before Rudy Gobert was on that roster.
Facts.
I look at the West, and I know it's incredibly difficult to get out of the West, but Rudy Gobert makes it a lot more possible for the Minnesota Timberwolves to get out. Donovan Mitchell does not make it a lot more possible for the New York Knicks as they are currently constructed to get out of the East. I just don't see that. And that's why I say it's not the end of the world, Jake, if the New York Knicks don't make that deal.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that I hear a lot is what is Donovan Mitchell worth? And I want to be really clear. We're not having a conversation about what Donovan Mitchell is worth. We're having a conversation about what the Utah Jazz want for Donovan Mitchell. And that's 2 very different things. And I think people need to understand that. I agree with you. He's probably worth 4 picks. That's probably fair compensation.
4 first-round
picks. But Danny's not going to take 4 first-round picks with where his roster is at and where the culture is at in Salt Lake, right? And where the situation is at. So that's why I say, I agree if you're Leon, and really, this isn't any negotiation. Whether you're trying to buy a house with Devry Davis or you're the New York Knicks trying to get Donovan Mitchell. Dude, you got to be able to walk away from any deal that is in front of you. You got to be able to say, okay, hey, this is your asking price. This isn't going to work out for us right now. Let's come back in a year when Donovan Mitchell is unhappy and has demanded a trade. Then we'll see what the asking price is. And that's what I think the Knicks ultimately have to do here. Because if you're Leon Rose, making this deal and giving up 6 first-round picks probably doesn't put you in a good place to go out and lose, as far as the Eastern Conference Finals are concerned. Because that's what it is. If you make the Donovan Mitchell trade, you give all this up, right? The expectation is an NBA Finals appearance at a minimum, I would think. I mean, I don't know what Knicks fans have to say about it. I'm sure we've got plenty in the comments, but I would think that, getting to the NBA Finals is the expectation. If you've got, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, you've got guys. So I guess the question really is, if you do make this deal, you do give up 6 first-round picks. You do give up a couple of players, including some of your key young guys, to do this, to get Donovan Mitchell. Is it NBA Finals or bust? I guess that's what my question would be. But I just think that if I'm on the other side of the phone and I'm Danny Ainge, I'm not doing the New York Knicks any favors, man. The price is the price, and I'm not coming off of it. And that's why I say, when last week happened, when you've got people on the radio talking about, oh, the deal's done, or we get Woj bombs, or we get this, or we get that, Like, the deal's not done until I get an announcement from the NBA. And that's where I'm kind of at on it. I'm tired of, hey, this deal's really close. This deal's really close, because I don't feel like it's really ever been that close. Like, it just doesn't, to me, feel that way.
No, and I think we talked about that on Friday. Like, I think, and now having a little clarity on it, and again, if you're just tuning into the show this morning, happy Monday too. We appreciate everybody being here. Please give us a thumbs up and a like. It really does help the channel grow. But if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Donovan Mitchell and the Knicks. And the update over the weekend was there really wasn't an update. And the clarity we got was the Jazz and the Knicks wanted, definitive understanding of how many of those 8 picks they could move. And so they consulted the NBA on this trade, which, by the way, is not surprising in that this is going to be a very complex deal if it gets done. Like, this is not going to be, your mom's 1v1, you take my player, I take your kind of trade.
Right.
That's not what this is going to be. So I think the Jazz and the Knicks consulted the NBA very wisely.
Hey, guys.
And I think those conversations probably triggered leaks in the NBA office that had people believing a deal was close. Because generally when a trade goes to the NBA office, they're looking for approval on a done deal. I totally understand that. But I think you're in a situation where you're seeing that this is a very complex trade that's going to take a lot of creativity to get done. And again, I simply say, and I'm a huge Donovan Mitchell supporter. He's not worth 6 first-round picks.
Yeah. Is there anybody in the league that is?
Well, I was just going to say, like, I don't know that any player in the NBA is worth that. I look at this situation in Boston, breaking news this morning out of the NBA. It's a Woj bomb.
Woj!
The Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets have been engaged on trade talks centering around Jaylen Brown and Kevin Durant that would have Kevin Durant end up in Boston, with Jaylen Brown ending up at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And the holdup seems to be twofold. Are the Boston Celtics really willing to include Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart? And how many first-round picks are the Celtics willing to include? And it looks like for Kevin Durant, who, by the way, is 33, not 25 like Donovan Mitchell, but a 33-year-old Kevin Durant with, fully, I think, 4 more years left on that deal or something like that?
Yeah.
You have a guy in Kevin Durant that is older, longer term, much more expensive player. What's that mean? He's getting fewer first-round picks. But you also have the Celtics who are willing to include 3 first-round picks, Jaylen Brown. But is Marcus Smart really a guy that's a tipping point in a deal? And it would appear that it is, because according to Adrian Wojnarowski, the NBA insider at ESPN, he's saying that Boston does not want to include Marcus Smart in a Kevin Durant trade, and that Brooklyn is demanding that trade include Marcus Smart.
Right.
And the question I think you have to ask yourself, if you are Boston, is Marcus Smart really a guy that you're like, well, nope, that's where my line is. I'm not giving up Marcus Smart. You can keep Kevin Durant. Because, Jake, I'm not so sure that I would go to my deathbed with Marcus Smart if it's what prevents me from getting Kevin Durant. Because I look at Jason Tatum, that's a guy that needs a mentor.
Yeah.
They need on that team in Boston desperately, in my opinion, a guy like Kevin Durant who's been there and done that. And he can instill that certain level of confidence. Because I ask the same question about Jason Tatum I ask about Donovan Mitchell. Is Don the it? Is he the alpha? Is he the guy that can be your number one option on a championship team? I don't know if he is. I don't know if Jason Tatum is. I certainly don't think that Jason Tatum showed you in the finals he was.
Right.
So I think that's a very valid question when you're trying to trade for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of inconsistencies with, those guys you were just mentioning, the Jason Tatums, the Donovan Mitchells. Like, there's a lot of inconsistency. I think Jason Tatum did take a step forward this past season. I think he showed some nice things, but I also think there were games where he disappeared and was unable to perform, and that I think is what you don't get from Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, I think, had one game in their entire playoff run where he didn't have a 25-point night. He carried them, and I don't think anybody disputes that. And I just think that, for Boston, this is a deal that you'd love to make. And I have to agree with you. I would include Marcus Smart, because at the end of the day, what did the great God Almighty Marcus Smart do against Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson? Well, he didn't do that much, did he? Like, it wasn't like Marcus Smart like shut down Steph Curry, which is basically what he's marketed as. This guy who's a great defender, can cause a lot of problems, ultimately that didn't help you win a championship. And if I'm Boston, I think you have to be, unfortunately, kind of cold-blooded about this one. I do think you have to say, yeah, you know what? I believe that Kevin Durant and his offensive game is more valuable with where our team is at than Marcus Smart and his defensive game.
Yeah.
I think you have to say that.
Totally agree. Let's get your comments in here on both Donovan Mitchell. Still no deal. Is Donovan Mitchell worth 6 first-round picks? Man, I would not make that deal if I'm the New York Knicks. And would you trade Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown to get Kevin Durant? And I think I would.
Yes, I would.
I would.
Yes, I would.
In Boston, are you kidding me? Colton Bitton says, good morning, Monty. Let's go golfing. My treat. What's up, Colton? Jake R says, good morning. Justin Salas says, morning, fellas. New baby has me awake early today. Congratulations. A new listener to the show.
Let's go.
Justin Salas's new baby.
Yeah, let's go.
Justin, you know how they say, like, if you swaddle a baby in your bosoms while you're listening to classical music, it makes them like a more intelligent, like, baby growing up. They say the same thing about listening to our show with your child. Deep in the bosoms, listening to the Monty Show, Rhodes Scholar. So,
Let's go.
And ranch dressing.
Yeah, obviously.
Ramses 10 says, good morning. Rudy Sanchez says, morning, fellas. Don't want to see Mitchell leave, but at this point, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and let the hurt heal and move on.
You see what I mean, though? This is precisely what I'm talking about. Dude, fans are burned out. And I know,
Yes.
Hey, fans don't matter to Danny Ainge or like the front office or that level of guy. I totally get it. Totally respect it. But what does matter is ticket sales. What does matter is how many people buy that highlighter yellow jersey, right? What does matter is, hey, did you make the playoffs? I can guarantee you they care about that.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, if this keeps going on and then you trade him right before camp starts, let's say, that's not going to be a good look. And so I just think that the timing of this oddly matters a lot more now than it did like a month ago. I feel like you're getting to a point where you need to just step away from this Knicks situation, or get the deal done, like one way or the other, because we got to get on the move with Mike Conley and Bojan Bogdanovic. There's some rumors about Jared Vanderbilt.
Well, think about Hassan Whiteside.
Like
you have to build out the rest of this roster, and this Nick trade clearly has been holding you up, I think, from doing that. Because I think you don't want the Donovan deal to go through after. Like, you're not going to make a Bojan trade until you make the Donovan deal.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you have and you don't know what value then you would need. Because if you make a Donovan trade and you get 6 first-round picks, doesn't your asking price for Bojan slightly change?
Yes.
I mean, I would think it would.
Well, and I think the rest of the league is waiting on you, too. By the way, that should be said.
Game Bucket Boy Z.
What's up?
Says the Jazz should bring Whiteside back. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Kanai Johnson says the Monty Show is the only reason I look forward to Mondays now.
Appreciate you, bro.
KJ, good to see you, my friend. Ramses 10, Utah, New York, and Indiana are among the teams who have discussed deals with the Lakers involving Russell Westbrook and draft capital. Yeah, I saw Shams tweeted that out. I think Russell Westbrook... He's nothing more than a buyout for the Jazz. I mean, if you really look at that.
Well, I think for any team, really. I mean, where's he going to go and be a contributor on the floor outside of L.A.? Like, I don't think anybody wants that right now.
I thought Tim Bontemps' point on Get Up the other morning on ESPN, we watched Get Up in the background while we're getting ready to do the show, and Tim Bontemps from ESPN made a really good point. If Russell Westbrook gets bought out, does somebody else sign him? Are we looking at the last days of Russell Westbrook in the NBA? I'm not ready to go that far. But is there a lot of value in bringing Russell Westbrook in on a vet minimum after he gets bought out?
I think so. Yeah.
Well,
I think he's got value from that standpoint.
Sure. I think he has value. But the question for me is, what role does he take on your roster? You know, if you really think about it, he is a volume player. He needs the ball. Russell Westbrook, to be really effective, needs the ball in his hands a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're a contender looking to get over the top, is Russell Westbrook a guy that has a real attractiveness? Is he a guy that you want and you're like, oh, well, we're one player away, we better go get Russell Westbrook?
No. Nope.
See, I agree with that. I don't think you are. I mean, if you're in Orlando and you need to sell tickets, you're probably more wanting to. But if you're Miami, if you're Boston, if you're That doesn't make a lot of sense.
About Washington.
I mean, Washington's a place he played well. OKC's a place he played well. I mean, I could see those scenarios.
But it doesn't make sense to go back to Houston now with what they have going on, the momentum they have.
I don't think he does. Gabe Ledley, good morning to you. Is Monty really going to make us wait until Friday for the RSL show with Mrs. Monty and Tanner announcement? Gabe, we were trying to hold on to that as like
it's all part of the plan.
Like we were trying to hold on to that until Friday, and now you've spoiled the announcement.
Unbelievable, Gabe.
Gabe.
Unbelievable, dude.
Good Lord.
Unbelievable.
We do
As
have.
you can see, there's not much hope for you left.
Yeah, Friday we're going to drop some dynamite on the show.
Like you need to be here Friday, and this is. I'm not talking about like we've done game console giveaways in the past.
No.
We've done some things in the past. It's nothing like that. What we're announcing Friday will blow your mind, literally.
Friday is going to be interesting. Friday at 8 Mountain Time, 8 a.m. Mountain Time.
Yes.
We will make a major announcement on the show. So don't miss that one. Steve Hambone, good morning to you. Teddy Wayman, what's
What's up, Teddy? What's up, my guy?
Teddy, good to see you. Karen Montemayor.
What's up?
Karen Montemayor on the show. My dark web sources close to Donovan Mitchell have confirmed that Mitchell and the Jazz have agreed to rob the Knicks of all their draft picks.
Well,
there you go.
Infowars.com.
There you go. Karen also says Mitchell will play poorly for the Knicks. Could give the Jazz better draft picks. Once Mitchell's contract ends, he'll sign with the Jazz to be surrounded by their newly acquired talent.
Infowars.com.
Okay. Don't let the aluminum foil hat chafe the earlobes, okay? Ishmael Beck Nielsen.
what's up?
IBN. No offense, Karen, but you're tripping. I think Donovan's reputation would be destroyed if that becomes the case. Don't take anything he says seriously. Or she. I could be a she. Sup, y'all? Greg Hawkins. Good morning. Now, so I'm at Harmon's at the new Mountain View Village Harmon's here
By
in
the way,
Harriman.
Beautiful Harmons. Just
It
had
is.
to say.
But Mrs. Monty and I are meal prepping, and we're shopping for that, and we're looking at salad dressing, and I look over on the shelf, and you know that section on the shelf where you're like, only losers shop here?
Right, yeah.
It made me think of Greg Hawkins because, well, it was all blue cheese dressing. And,
Come on, man.
you know.
Greg, dude, come on. We got to get you on the ranch train, man. At least compromise
listen.
with us and go with honey mustard. Come on.
And look, if I got to fly to the Philippines to drown you in a vat of Ken's ranch dressing, I'll do it.
I'm going to say this again.
The blue cheese thing is in my head. I even tweeted that Greg Hawkins is living rent-free in my head.
Yeah.
When I think about, Greg, when I think about you at the grocery store, you're in my head. That like
Y'all feel me?
You're in my head, bro. You know what I'm saying? Tanner Plummer says, good morning, you filthy casuals. Good to see you, friend. Antha Man says, done deal, LMAO. No, not a done deal.
But do you see what I mean? Do you see? But I really appreciate that comment, even though it's tongue-in-cheek. Like, I get it. I appreciate the comment. Hey, it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. And now we're a week past it, and it's not done.
It's not done.
Nice, dude.
How about Ultra Cowboy with that new cowboy lid? We're going to talk about those helmets in a minute. He says, I thought Danny was an assassin. Leon is not dumb. No, he's not.
He's an assassin.
Ultra Cowboy also says Leon Rose is schooling Danny Ainge. I see, but I don't buy that either. I don't think anybody's getting schooled. I think this is simply two guys that are really good at their jobs. And Danny Ainge is a proven operative. Leon Rose, frankly, is a new executive in the NBA that was a prolific agent that represented NBA talent who's now a general manager. And I think he's a guy that's kicking ass for the Knicks.
Facts.
Because in the past, guys like Isaiah Thomas would have got spun into a top.
Yeah.
And this deal would have been done, and you would have lost all 59,000 picks coming up.
How the fuck else would you do
You know,
this
like
job?
I'm saying? I don't think that Danny's getting schooled. I don't think I don't think that's the case. Let's see. JP Shanahan, could there be a chance, even a small one, that Mitchell returns to Jasmine? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I think there's more than a small chance.
Yeah, more than a small chance. Yeah. Brett Robbins says Devery Buckets O'House. So
Let's
Davis,
go.
exactly
Yes.
right.
Buckets O'House. Let's go.
Devery Buckets O'House Davis.
Yes, sir.
Call Devery Davis.
No break.
We're giving away a trip for two to see BYU and Notre Dame in Las Vegas, brought to you by Devery Davis at Academy Mortgage. Academy Mortgage and Devery Davis are equal housing lenders, NMLS number 278545. But I always say this, no matter where you are in the country or in the world, and you're sitting there saying to yourself, I can't afford to buy a house. You guys are crazy. If you know the answers, you can't afford it, call Devery and have him confirm it. What do you have to lose? A 5-minute phone call that'll change your life? Because by the way, Devery's amazing on the phone. That's one of the most entertaining conversations you'll have all of your life. Devery's a salt of the earth, wonderful human.
Yep.
But trust me when I say it, he's going to change your mind. You can afford to buy a house. You can afford that down payment. Call Devery Davis, Academy Mortgage today, 801-543-9666. 801-543-9666 for Devery Buckets O House Davis.
And the only other thing I'd say on that,
love that,
is when you think you can't do it, just remember, know what you don't know. You don't know what Devery Davis has at his disposal. You don't know the special programs that he might have. Like I personally last year talked to Devery about a special fund that the state of Utah has for first-time homebuyers. I talked to him personally. He's my guy. Now I wasn't able to do the deal at that time. However, I can tell you we're close on that now, and that's why I'm saying, just call the guy, talk to him, see what he has to say, because you never know how information from Devery could change your path.
Do it. Let's see. The blind Schwartzman DS, with his name being on the former player rack, is damn disrespectful. I don't buy that at all. Can we stop with the former player rack? Do you really think the Jazz are going to be like, oh, yeah, put him on the former player rack?
Dude, an intern printed out a piece of paper that said former player rack and taped it to the Don jerseys. Come on.
Come on. What are we doing? I don't put any leverage in that at all. Prismac from Poland.
What's up?
What's up, my man? Maybe trade Don to other teams. I don't think they're out trying to trade Donovan Mitchell. This is a conversation we've had a lot, too. I just don't think the Jazz are out to do that. I don't. Derek Gray says, good morning, Monty and Jake. What's up?
Good morning.
Ultra Cowboy. Knicks fans always show up to the Garden. Use the picks to move up in the draft next year. Well, next year's draft is massive.
Yep.
But I think the Garden has seen more empty seats the last 5 years, and there have been some dark days in the Garden.
But it's still the Garden, and let's not sit here and say that the Garden isn't a special place, right? I think that, it has seen some dark days. Yeah, it has gone through a downturn, but it's still the Garden, and you're still one player away from that place being lit on fire every single night. James
Knight says, so if Don lands at the Knicks, it makes a mockery of his motivation for a championship. It's getting paid. Well, I think you're not wrong. If we're really saying if Donovan Mitchell wants to stick and stay with the thing where I want to win a championship and, okay, so trade me to the Knicks, I don't think Donovan's ever wavered on, I want to win a championship. All I care about is winning a championship. I don't think he's ever wavered on that.
Yeah.
But I think it's awfully difficult to turn down your hometown team. And to me, if he goes to the Knicks, I think it's completely understandable. I mean, if I could be a Chicago Cub, I would.
Right.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
Calm Islam Lee says, you guys still talking about a trade that's never going to happen. LMAO. Could be. Yeah, you could be right. Absolutely. Spencer Morgan, good morning to you, friend. He says, LOL, the former players rack thing is hilarious.
Yeah.
As if the manager of some jersey stand is going to have the inside track on a trade. Oh, wait. Is that who Monty's source is? Yeah, well, you caught me. Yeah, it's the manager at the team store.
Damn.
Yep, Spencer Morgan outed us.
Damn.
For sure. Ultra Cowboy, James Dolan gets a bad rap. Look what he has done with the Rangers. Well, that's hockey. He has been a terrible owner of the Knicks.
Yeah.
As a human being, as a manager, as an operator, as a he's been a terrible owner of the Knicks. There's no other way to put that. From Isaiah Thomas to Phil Jackson to whoever. He's been a terrible owner of the Knicks. I don't see any way to defend him. I really don't. Let's see. Dylan Rodriguez says, is Luka to blame for the Utah rebuild? No, way, shape, or form. I don't think outside of going to the Western Conference Finals this past season, this would have been the case. They knew the Utah Jazz from a very, very early stage of Danny Ainge's time with the Jazz. They knew they were trading Rudy Gobert. We've been talking about this for a year.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to trade him. You don't pay a center who's an offensive liability 23% of your salary cap. Rudy Gobert is a great player. He is a defensive stud. but he's making $41 million a year on average. And you're not going to win like that. Not in Utah. Like, yeah, I mean, that's huge money for a guy that was very limited and was able to be schemed off the floor in the playoffs by teams like the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks, frankly. So,
but that's why he's a great fit in Timberwolves land.
Yes.
Like, he's not asked to score. He's not asked to do anything but set screens and rebound, and that's what he's elite at.
Yeah. Let's see. Julio Durango says, why you guys have a Jordan poster? Jazz fans shake my head. LOL, can you keep Mitchell not trading 6 picks? First of all, I'm born and raised in Chicago. I'm a huge Chicago Bulls fan.
Yeah.
And this is Bruce at the Bud plant. Our guy Bruce is the one who gave this to me, right? And it's a collector's item. It's one of the original Gatorade Be Like Mike posters.
Yeah.
And it is a spectacular piece. Like, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of my prized possessions. I like, it's not a shot at Jazz fans. Now, my license plate that says flu game.
Yes.
You know.
We'll get to that a little later in the show.
That's
Don't worry.
probably insensitive. You know. Let's see. My Holy King. Good morning, King. Says Kemba Walker never showed up in New York. He's from the Bronx. Not everyone wants to play where they're from. Truth.
Yeah.
I think Donovan Mitchell wants to play where he's from.
But still, remember, Kemba had huge moments at the Garden in college, dude. Like, don't forget the dagger step back. Like, don't forget some of the things he did. So
Yeah.
I agree. He didn't show up as a Knick. I agree that he was a letdown and a disappointment. Totally agree.
Yes.
But I don't think because Kemba Walker didn't show up that we can say Donovan Mitchell's not going to show up. If Donovan Mitchell puts on a Knick uniform, I guarantee you he's going to show up.
Don wants the fire. He wants the smoke, the heat. He wants it
dude.
all. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell putting on a Knick uniform is going to change who he is as a player. That guy, I'm telling you, I think the world of Donovan. I think as a basketball player, there are a few guys that have a better motor. His internal drive, his want to, his professionalism, none of that is in question. Is he clutch? I don't know. We're going to find out. Is the guy working his ass off every offseason? Yes. Does he give his very best on a nightly basis? Yes. Is he perfect? No. The guy needs to defend, and he needs a score in the mid-range. But if you're watching the Black Ops runs in New York with Chris Brickley, Donovan Mitchell is working on his game. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. I believe in the guy. I think Donovan Mitchell is a generational type talent that I think this year is going to come out of the gate. He's going to average 30 points, and I think he has the potential to be a top 5 player in the NBA.
Is that enough to go to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Not right now for the Knicks. It's not, because with all due respect to Mitchell Robinson, listen, you have guys here that need the basketball. RJ Barrett, to develop and grow into the player everybody wants him to be, needs the basketball. Julius Randle needs the basketball. Like, Donovan Mitchell needs the basketball. You can't have that. That mix of guys is that's some clumpy, murky soup, bro. Like, and I think that's part of the reason I would tell you not to give up all those picks. I just don't. Let's see. Steve Peterson says, lifelong Jazz fan, and you've got to respect everything that Jordan did in his career. Now, if it was a Bron poster, I'd question every decision Monty has made. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I agree with that. But it's not a Bron poster.
It's Michael
and
Jordan.
it is Michael Jordan, the best player that's ever played. So
that, like, I can tell you as a young reporter covering the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, he don't know nothing.
I almost passed out the first time I stood next to Michael Jordan. Like, it was one of the single greatest moments of my entire life. The first time I ever stood next to Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt that way again. Like, and I was at LeBron's first game. I covered Kobe and Shaq when they were together with the Lakers. I've been around some unbelievable talent. I've seen things on a baseball field, on a basketball court, on a football field. I watched Marshall Faulk do some things with a football. I mean, I saw the Rich Gannon Raiders at their absolute best.
what do you think your favorite was out of all the things you've seen?
Oh, the lob from Kobe to Shaq is not close. That play, that moment, the Lakers being down on death's door. I think they were down 17 points in the fourth quarter, Game 7, Western Conference Finals against the Portland Trail Blazers. And they come back and they win. Going to going to Sacramento and absolutely dominating the Kings to come back and win that series. Like the thing is, Kobe and Shaq didn't get along, but they were just not willing to lose. They weren't willing to lose. Michael Jordan did some things that I've never seen. Kobe Bryant did some things that I didn't think I'd ever see ever again. I just did. I mean, it's probably Michael Jordan. Like, just Michael Jordan has a buzz about him just standing up next to you. Like, you feel, there's only two guys I've ever felt that way about being close to. Deepak Chopra did an in-studio interview with me once that was unreal. And Michael Jordan in a locker room in Chicago Stadium was amazing. Was amazing. And I that's why I have such deference for him. But, man, I'm telling you,
yeah,
guys like Kevin Durant, having seen Kevin Durant up close and personal, Steph Curry, watching Steph Curry's warm-ups, I covered Golden State for a very brief period of my career. Watching Steph Curry warm up is crazy because he does not miss a shot. And you just know it's going in. Like, the NBA, I love the NBA.
Yeah.
I love the NBA. I just do, you know. Let's see. Cooper Jones says LeBron is the best player ever, Jordy. Okay, how do you block people on this?
Don't you know who I am?
You know. James Knight says, let's hope Brickley gets that loser limp out of Don's game. Loser limp.
Why are you hating on Guy, man? Why are you hating on Buddy?
I don't know. I don't. Let's see. Requan L says, who's giving Jalen's work to Luka? Who's giving Jalen's work to Luka? What do you mean? What does that mean? Dop Hop. Knicks fans want that trade. That's why they're always on Jazz podcast saying we deserve this trade on the cheap. Who else wants DM? Oh, Jazz better. No, Jazz might keep the 3-time All-Star. Like, I think Knicks fans are some of the most passionate fans in the NBA. I think they're some of the most educated fans in the NBA. They're no different than Jazz fans. No team should want to give up a jockstrap more than they have to make a deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Who does that?
Yeah, giving up 6 picks is a disaster. It just is. I don't even know that there's a player worth 6 picks. Honest to God. John Conley says Phil Jackson cost the Knicks Don Succi. Okay. Brandon West says, do you think there will ever be another MJ? No. And there will never be another Shaq, another Kobe. Like, all these guys coming up are their own individual guys.
There won't be another Bron. There won't be another Kevin Durant.
No.
There won't.
I don't. You know, like, that's just me. Hawkeye says, oh, stop it. Dolan's not the problem. I didn't say he was the problem. I said he's been the problem, and I think he's got to prove that he can win a championship as an owner.
Yeah.
Jeannie Buss has to prove she can win a championship. Ryan Smith has to prove he can win a championship as an owner. You do. And I think that's one of the more fascinating things about talking to Jazz fans and Knicks fans on the same show. Like, you just see how desperate fan bases are to win championships. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Gobert messed up the market along with the T-Wolves front office, Greeny from LI says. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, but let's be very clear. Like, that's not Rudy's fault. Like, Rudy Gobert had nothing to do with the negotiations on his
That's a
trade.
hundo P. That's a hundo P. The Timberwolves for paying that.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
why
Danny
would you pay
Ainge
that?
Asking for the right price and the Timberwolves caving and doing it.
Are you serious? You made that trade? Like, that's one of those Herschel Walker get fired trades. Like,
Oh, what a loser!
yeah, like, what were you thinking? Like, dude.
What an idiot!
Dude, what are you? No.
What are you doing,
No,
bro?
man.
Come
No.
on.
Joshua Rodriguez says, Knicks fan here, Dolan doesn't have control of anything but paying the tax fees now. It's all Scott Perry. Well, yeah, and a lot of people have said that.
But I think
lot of
the
people
point
have said
remains, listen, not that you're wrong, but I think the point remains that they got to prove they can win something. Like, I think I agree with the concept that you have enough talent now to be a playoff team for the next couple of seasons. No doubt about it. I think the problem is nobody knows if Donovan Mitchell can be the guy.
That's correct.
Nobody knows. That's the problem.
I agree. NY Jazz fan says, besides Minnesota being a true East Coast contender,
right.
What are your other hot takes, Jake?
Maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
fuck
mean,
yourself.
you know, yeah, Jake's had some
guy
hot takes.
misspeaks one time and all of a sudden,
He's a misspeaker.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. A couple more. Brett Robbins says, trade Boyan and a few Wolves picks for Isaac. Nah, I'm fine. What do you guys make of this Kevin Durant story? Because I do want to get to that a little more in detail. I mean, this story, Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj bomb at like 3 a.m.
Isn't it always?
That Boston, the Celtics, are involved in Kevin Durant negotiations in a trade that surrounds Jaylen Brown. And Brooklyn wants Marcus Smart and at least 3 first-round picks. I'm doing that deal if I'm Boston, because Boston's got to get back to the finals. Boston's got to win a championship. And I think Kevin Durant puts the Boston Celtics at the top of the Eastern Conference. And if I'm the Celtics, I think I see that I have a very small window to win with this group of talent, because you're looking at a guy like Marcus Smart's not going to play at this level for a very long time. He's just not that guy. He's not that he doesn't have that body. He doesn't have, in my opinion, the ceiling to continue to improve. And as much as I think that Jason Tatum has a very high ceiling, you bring in Kevin Durant and automatically Jason Tatum's a better player. Right. I think you bring in Kevin Durant, and if you don't give up a guy like Grant Williams becomes a better player. Mm-hmm. You've got to find a way to get Kevin Durant on that team. And yeah, I would agree. It's not ideal to give up Marcus Smart, but are you telling me you can't win with KD if Marcus Smart's not there? I don't buy that for a second. Yeah. My feeling is, Jake, they got to make this deal in Boston.
Yeah, and again, I think the conversation, if you're Boston, is, hey, what's more valuable to us? Is Kevin Durant's offensive ability and leadership and experience in the postseason more valuable than Marcus Smart's defensive ability and Marcus Smart's experience? And I'm here to tell you, yeah, I'm making that deal every day. Like, I think that's not even a conversation. I think that Kevin Durant's, still in his prime, in my opinion. Kevin Durant can still put you over the top and help you win a championship. And I think the other thing here is that Boston was the best defensive team in the league last year. Now, yes, Marcus Smart had a lot to do with that, but Marcus Smart is one man. It's not to say that Marcus Smart was your entire defense. So that's why I say I don't think it's a hefty price to pay to throw Marcus Smart in the deal to make it work. It's not a hefty price to pay to essentially guarantee an NBA Finals appearance. That's just what I think of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the things that people really struggle with is, what are you willing to give up? Like, I look back at the Jazz. Like, are you willing to trade, Don Bogey, Conley, Jordan Clarkson? Mm-hmm. What are you willing to give up? What's your appetite for suckage in order to get back to the top? Because I don't think anybody believes that Kevin Durant's leaving Brooklyn to go lose. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, this is a guy that, for better or for worse, is a ring chaser, and I see everybody talking about that. But I think it's very interesting to see how this goes. I think it'll be interesting to see exactly how this trade works out. Ben Cinco, good morning to you. He says, lifelong fan from the Philippines here. Lifelong jazz fan from the Philippines. I've been listening to your show pretty much every day. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Appreciate that.
He says, the past few weeks now. Glad to know there's at least 2 of us from this part of the world who are regular listeners to your show. Oh, man.
Oh, there's more than 2 of you.
Yeah, there's probably 6. There's a pretty good handful of people. Greg Hawkins listens to the show in the Philippines. I mean, Erich Tavera. There's a good bit of people that listen to the show. Yeah, Greg, exactly right. Greg Hawkins says there's 8 rotating listeners from the Philippines in the show pretty regularly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ben, you're in good company. I mean, and thank you, Jordan Clarkson, because I know I've had a ton of people say, well, hey, man, I'm listening to your show because Jordan Clarkson. So we appreciate that. Ben Cinco, thanks for being here. George from the island says, history repeats itself. Durant left the Thunder to go to a team that beat him. Yeah, seriously. How crazy would that be if he leaves Brooklyn to go to Boston?
Hey, listen, Kevin, you got to be okay with that.
Kev,
the Kevster, you got to be okay with the fact that people are always going to regard you as a ring chaser. And part of me is like, hey, ring chasing's fine. And then another part of me is like, hey, dude, you never did it on your own. And LeBron did it. Michael did it. These guys, Kobe certainly, the best of the best, the greatest of all time guys you're trying to compete with at one point did it on their own.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that Kevin Durant's legacy's on the line.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs to The drama's got to go away. The drama has to go away with him. Like, you just can't keep doing it. You know, like you just facts. He's too good of a player to keep wasting like that.
Yeah.
Diane A says, does Ainge want to begin the season with a new coach and all the trades of DM? I would think a clean slate is necessary. Well, I think you're going to have a clean slate and Donovan Mitchell because every day that goes on, it becomes less likely they make a deal before training camp.
And I think what you can't do is go into training camp and have this dark cloud hanging over you of like when you're going to trade Dom. Like there needs to be like at some point you either need to do the deal or you need to come out and definitively say, hey, Donovan Mitchell's here. Like, we're not moving him. Like, there needs to be, you got to hit the pause button publicly.
Yeah, I agree. Tyler P says, I'm shocked the Nets turned down Jaylen Brown. I don't think they turned it down. I think they want Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
I think they do, and I would make it a huge price as well. Cooper says, KD is such a drama queen. His legacy has been tainted. See, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I do agree his legacy's been tainted, no doubt about it. Hoops Express, good morning to you. Should the Warriors trade for Kevin Durant? I don't think they should. I mean, you're too good now, and this is without Kuminga and Wiseman really playing a pivotal part of your championship.
Yeah, what need do you have?
Yeah.
Like, you just did it without him.
And I think Steph Curry is starting to play his best basketball. I mean, Game 4 Steph.
Incredible.
And I think that's who he's going to be. Like, my feeling is that Steph Curry now is playing his best basketball ever.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to trade for KD. I wouldn't do that. Brett Robbins says, now you just rebuilt your future. Now you're giving it all away to ring chase for one chip. Seriously.
Exactly.
Munir Aboria. If Utah retools by keeping Spida, what kind of trades should they do? Keep up the good work. Thank you. I think you have to trade Boyan. And you have to trade Conley. I would not, in my opinion, trade Jordan Clarkson. I just think every team needs a Jordan Clarkson.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
Well, and I think Pat Bev is the other guy you got to talk about. I mean, at some point,
absolutely,
that's a guy that you're going to flip. And to me, like, he feels like a guy you'd keep on the team and move him at the deadline. Like, let him do work for you. Let him energize the team.
I think you'd like to move him before the season, wouldn't you? I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, there's absolute value in that. James Knight says it makes perfect sense that KD wants to go to Boston. They must be close to a ring. Surprise!
Yeah.
A lot of that. Hoops Express says, do you think the Warriors will trade Donovan Mitchell to the Warriors? You mean the Jazz? I don't. I think if they don't do the Nick trade, I think he's on the team till the deadline at the minimum.
Yeah.
Widescreen TV says, hot take, if KD is traded for Brown and Smart, Nets will do better than Boston next season. Ooh. I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing you got to take into consideration. Obviously, these two play each other a ton, and I think this little cesspool of death that's happening in the Eastern Conference is a beautiful.
Of death.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, first we get Harden going from Brooklyn to Philly, right? Now we're talking about where's Kevin going? Is Kevin now going to be a Boston Celtic, right? So these three guys are all going to play each other a bunch if Kevin stays in the Eastern Conference. So I just think it's a beautiful thing to watch. And the other thing I'd point out is notice we're not hearing any Kyrie talk anymore.
No.
And I think that's a sign that that there's a chance he'll be back. I think there's a good chance he'll be back, in fact, I would say. And I think that people want to see him prove that he can play more than 5 minutes a season for their team before they go giving him a bunch of money.
Yep, don't disagree about that. Let's see. What does some dude says, did you say Kevin Durant leadership? LOL, well, he is a renowned locker room guy. Like, I mean, you can say a lot of things about him being a ring chaser, but I don't think there's any doubt that every locker room he's been in raved about him, whether that was Steph and Clay, Draymond, certainly. I mean, he is a guy that makes your locker room better. He is a phenomenal teammate. I don't think his support of Kyrie Irving is no better display of that. John Conley says, Celtics will do this deal, but will KD be happy with Tatum and playing in Boston? I think he will. Josh Lover, and I don't understand holding a grudge with those who ring chase. Neither do I. And like, this is a thing that I think is a real conversation. Yeah. Why wouldn't you ring chase? Why would you be loyal to, this is the Devin Booker conversation before Chris Paul. Like, why would you be loyal to a guy like Robert Sarver if you weren't winning rings?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be.
It's a Damian Lillard conversation.
You wouldn't be. Yeah. I mean, the one team guys are so rare anymore. Book, Curry, Clay, Draymond have a chance to do that. But how many guys really have a chance to do that?
John Morant?
Nah, he'll play for another team.
You think?
Yeah.
What?
But look at Dame. Dame's likely not ever going to win a championship.
Which I just don't understand why he would stay there the whole time. Like, I just don't get that.
Yeah, which sucks. Like it is. That's what's disappointing. I don't know, man. Let's see. Munir Aburaya says, what about the Clippers? I think they are a silent shark and no one's talking about them. Well, I mean, John Wall certainly makes them better. It's a matter of seeing Kawhi put on a Clipper uniform and play again.
Yeah, does he even play basketball anymore?
I mean, it is. That's a big question. Dennis Young says, speaking for most Knicks fans, we do not want Donovan if it involves quickly topping and Grimes.
It's a fair take.
It is a fair take, but I don't see how you're Danny Ainge and you give away Donovan Mitchell and you don't get Toppin's the guy that I think there's a big question about. I think his upside's huge, but the Jazz haven't historically developed young talent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that Emmanuel Quickley is a star in the making. I mean, I would put him and Tyrese Maxey as two of the best young guards in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think Quentin Grimes is a really good player. But for that trade to really be satisfactory, Obi Toppin needs to put out. Like, that dude needs to be a 40-minute contributor.
Yeah.
And is there Knick fan or Jazz fan, is there anybody that sees Obi Toppin as a guy that is 20 and 10 every night for 40 minutes?
Probably not.
I don't know if you can count on him. I don't know if you've seen that. The West is a lot more difficult than the East, man. And granted, the last half of the year, the last couple of weeks of the year, Toppin was spectacular. But there was not a lot of pressure, and it was New York, the Knicks. Like, I don't know what to make of that. Honest to God,
tough.
I don't know how you diagnose a unicorn like Obi Toppin. The guy can run. He's big. He shoots well. But there's just that little inconsistency that scares you. Just a little bit. John Conley says, great show. Appreciate that. Sherwin, good morning to you. Obi Toppin is a 15-minute-a-game bench player.
Well, right now, but that's not the conversation, what he is right now. The conversation is, what can he be?
What's
that's
the projection?
Thing. Yeah.
Because if he's a 15-minute-a-night bench player, I'm not interested in making that trade.
Yeah.
Oh, what a loser.
I'm not. I don't know. Wilton Mina says Obi's a 20 and 10 player when given the minute. Yeah. Could be. Put 25 pounds on Duncan Robinson and play him at the 4.
Dude.
Christopher Shorter.
Seriously.
You're a stud.
Seriously. Put 25 pounds on, buddy, and let's get to work.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Josh Lovren says Knicks should trade for Jamal Murray. Don's dad would be great in NYC for the Knicks. Jamal Murray, speaking of put on a uniform and play a game.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
What is he?
I am ready for that.
I hope that he is. If he could be the same guy, that'd be amazing, but we'll see, man.
Okay, says John Collins played like crap in the Drew. Yeah, he got dunked on. I saw that.
Yeah.
Did you see LiAngelo Ball had a big day at the Drew?
Doesn't surprise me.
Not at all. CAA Mafia, good morning. Do you think the price stays the same for DM after the season starts? I think it goes up. Because they don't, the Jazz don't need to trade him. If you're new to the show, we've pretty consistently said the Jazz aren't out shopping Donovan Mitchell to anybody that'll take him.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a real appetite for the Jazz to trade him. I think if you're going to give me 6 picks and 3 players, and I'm going to take that.
So I say, what are we doing here, bro? Like, what are we doing here? Like, either and I'm not trying to be cold-blooded with Knick fans or with Leon or anything, but like, the asking price is the asking price. You can keep coming back and saying, hey, we're only willing to give up 4. Danny's going to keep pounding the door down and saying, hey, well, we're only taking 6. So what are we really doing here? And that's why I say, like when someone comes out and says, oh, well, the deal's done, and I'm getting this, and I'm getting that, and the deal's going to come out in hours. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not, because they're not close. They are not close. They haven't been close.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't add up to them being close on a deal.
Yeah, I just don't think the Jazz necessarily want to trade Don. I think they're just getting a haul. They're getting a haul. Boy, the Obi Toppin debate is real. Andrew Koldejababubu. Andrew is AK. That's
Andrew Koldejabubu.
Koldziej.
I saw it.
Koldejababubu. Okay. Obi scored 77 points in his last 2 games. Yeah, he did.
I'm saying the guy's talented. He can work.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it is. CAA Mafia. Cam Reddish has more upside than Obi.
Oh, get the hell out of here with that. No. I'm not here for that.
I think he does.
I'm not here for that.
I don't think he does.
Nope.
I think Cam Reddish is a really good defensive player. But it's either Cam Reddish or Evan Fournier. And if I'm the Jazz, I probably want Cam Reddish because I can use him long term. Evan Fournier is not a guy that, frankly,
he's been around the block. You know what he is.
You know who he is.
Yeah,
he's not a guy that you need on a team that's currently constructed the way they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got Evan Fournier and Bojan Bogdanovic.
Listen, soft French player, we know what you are. Well, with all due respect, I know what you are, man.
I would agree. Mike Phillips, Jazz are going to re-sign Hernan Gomez because Ryan Smith watched Hustle over the weekend and thought it was a documentary. Wow.
Well said.
Okay. You know. Andrew AK says Obi scored. I already read that. Sorry. Your name is still AK. Antonio Ruiz, I'm not making the trade unless Julius is gone. I think Toppin will flourish in this Saw lineup as Brunson. It's the same lineup as Brunson.
Yep.
Julius Randle's such see, this is a problem with the Knicks.
Yeah.
You got issues like in several different places. I like Julius Randle. The Lakers should have hung on to him. Anyway.
Yeah.
You know. Sherwin. Cam Reddish can do a lot more than Obi Toppin. He can. But he hasn't. He has not. And he's been traded. He's been traded now. And I mean, Atlanta essentially gave up on him. You know, like Cam is a good defensive player. I just don't know that you ever count on him offensively.
Yeah, he's got a lot of proving to do, man. I just think what I've seen from Obi Toppin tells me that Obi can really be a key contributor, someone who is, you know, like someone that you can really work with and be in your starting 5 regularly that will contribute for you.
Brett Robbins says Reddish is Buckets O'Neal at best.
Yeah, I agree.
You are what you are.
I completely agree.
Ooh. Steve Peterson says, fine. Let's just trade Don to Chicago for Ditka.
Don't sass me, Burkus.
Hey, Coach.
Coach
Ditka. I can't wait for football. I cannot wait for football. A couple more, then we got to move on. CAA Mafia. Cam Reddish is 6'8", multi-position defender. You need the next Brunson and Spida. You can have a 6'5" Grimes. Did we forget what Cam did in the playoffs when the Hawks went to the Eastern Conference Finals? So he's not a bad player, but he's not the cherry on top of a deal either.
Yeah.
I want Obi Toppin's upside. At this point, I'm trading for upside. If I'm trading Donovan Mitchell and taking a bunch of youngs in return, I need the upside.
Yes, correct.
That's what I need. I need the upside. Let's see. Trey Yusuki says, do you think the New York Knicks make the playoffs?
Yes.
I do. Brett says, no, they get rid of Reddish because of Hunter. They got rid of Reddish because, Hunter's a stud for Atlanta.
I just think Cam Reddish never got it going in Atlanta. Like, and I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but he never put himself in a position where the Hawks were like, yeah, we got to keep this guy.
Yeah, and you can't pay them all. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. Bottom line is, if I am the Knicks, no, I do not make this trade for six guys.
Yeah.
I don't. I just don't. All right. We are giving away a trip for 2 to see the BYU Cougars take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium coming up on October 8th. In the Shamrock Series, we're going to give you 2 tickets to the game, 2 nights in a hotel, and a $250 gas card to get you to Las Vegas to see Notre Dame and BYU in the Shamrock Series. It's all brought to you by our good friend Devry Davis at Academy Mortgage. 801-543-9666, NMLS number 278545. Devry Davis and Academy Mortgage are equal housing lenders. And when I tell you that you should go to Devry Davis, I know that because Devry Davis is my mortgage guy. When I have questions about my house or my mortgage, I call one guy. It's Devery Davis, 801-543-9666. And I call Devery because he's not a yes man. He's not a dollar signs guy. And the worst thing is when you're trying to make a decision in this real estate market, whether to sell your house, should I refi it? Because I'm telling you right now, please do not say the words HELOC to me. Do not say home equity line of credit because they're incredibly expensive right now.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
But they do work for some. Are you a candidate for a home equity line of credit? I don't know, but Devery Davis does. Should you refi your house? I don't know, but Devery Davis does. Should you buy that house? Can you afford that house? Can you afford a down payment? I don't know, but Devery Davis does. And by the way, if you're the guy right now watching this show and you're sitting there saying to yourself, Mont, I'm a blue-collar guy. I don't have money for a down payment. How can I possibly buy a house? Devery Davis has programs to help you with your down payment. Trust me when I tell you, you can afford to buy a house. And the housing market requires one thing, you to be able to move fast and be aggressive. Devery Davis can make any home buyer a cash buyer regardless of how much money you have. So if you want to walk into a house, hand them a cash offer, call Devery Davis today at Academy Mortgage, 801-543-9666. Devery Davis is my mortgage guy. Make him your mortgage guy too. And do me a solid. Call Devery today and say, hey man, I know you're a great mortgage guy, but I'm just calling you to say thanks for supporting The Monty Show. 801-543-9666. Devery Davis at Academy Mortgage. NMLS number 278545. An equal housing lender. There you go. Friday, we have a huge announcement on this show.
I'm talking, I'm trying to figure out how, it's next level.
Earth-shattering announcement on this show. That is coming up on Friday. Pac-12 or NFL helmets? I want to go NFL helmets because my R&We, the Chicago mother-freaking Bears, are amongst the teams that got new helmets. And goddamn, the Bears helmet is ugly. Now, if you look up here, right here, there's an orange Bears hat with a blue B on it.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Right. B for beautiful. Okay, we get it.
B for boner at that orange helmet.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
The orange jersey for the Bears is beautiful. But this orange helmet does not strike my fancy.
No.
Yeah, exactly right. So let's talk NFL helmets.
Yeah.
Of the ones that you've seen, which of these alternate helmets, and most teams are going to wear these 3 games a year.
Right.
You've had the Atlanta Falcons come out with the red and the beautiful.
Yeah, love it.
You've had the Dallas Cowboys with the white and the blue star. Beautiful. The New York Football Giants.
Yeah.
Come out with the Giants on the side, back to Parcells and Phil Simms.
That's pretty much self-explanatory.
Meh, only because they did it with Saquon Barkley, who's a bust.
Yeah.
But I think there's only one that takes the cake. It is the Cincinnati Bengals. The white helmet with the with the black tiger stripes. It's clean. It's
Tiger.
fresh. It's Joe Burrow. I'd hit that.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me with that helmet?
Well said.
Jake, what's the best alternate helmet in the NFL?
The Arizona Cardinals. I don't have any doubt about it. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about this Cardinals helmet. On Twitter and on the internet, it probably does not look nearly as good as it's going to look in person, and the reason for that is because it's a black helmet with red flake in the helmet. So the flake won't be seen in a flat image on Twitter, right? It'll just look like a black helmet. But in person, on TV, when Kyler Murray's throwing that pick 6 to end the game in the playoffs, this helmet's going to look really good, right? Now, here's what I'm also going to say. The Bengals helmet is hot, definitely. Stormtrooper look never disappoints. White helmet, black stripes, that's going to look amazing. Joe Burrow's going to look awesome wearing it. But I have to say my favorite is that Cardinal one, and I'm not even a Cardinals fan. I am a big fan of black and red color schemes, and I think that, black as your base color with red flake with the Cardinal logo over it is just fire. To me, that one was the best.
Now, the red flake is what makes this Cardinal helmet pop.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, I would absolutely go and get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is beautiful.
Now, I will say that I love the fact that some of these teams are paying heritage to the past. Like, hey, like, you know, the Giants and, like you were saying, the Bill Parcells days, and I love that. I love that the Patriots are bringing back the red unis with the white helmet. Love that. Love that motif.
Yes.
Love the Falcons bringing back the older logo.
What about the Carolina Panthers with the black helmet with the blue?
Like, they're trying. I throw the Panthers in with the Jets.
But
Yeah.
it's matte black.
Like,
Oh, the Jets, come on.
But here's the problem.
Dude,
stop.
Sacks he's not going to win.
Stop, dude. Stop.
The
Yes,
Jets.
yes, yes.
Yeah, the Jets helmet is beautiful. Now, I'd like to know
don't win anything.
I'd like to know who Zach Wilson's mom's friend is and
No.
see if she's beautiful. That Jets helmet is beautiful. I don't know how you don't like that Jets helmet. Are you serious?
Good-looking helmet.
With
They
the
don't
green
win
flake
anything,
letters,
bro.
What does that fucking matter?
They
The
don't-
Falcons don't win
because
anything.
at
The
least,
Arizona
dude,
Cardinals haven't won
But
anything.
the Cardinals are in the postseason,
The
are they not?
The Dallas Cowboys don't ever
Yeah,
win
but they have
nothing.
storylines. They're in the playoffs. They're a winning football team on some level. Like, no, they haven't won the Super Bowl.
The Dallas Cowboys are a winning football
on
team.
some level, they're getting to
What
the
level would that
postseason.
be?
The postseason, the
Come on.
playoffs.
Tony Romo
The
dropping the
playoff,
snap
yeah,
in
but how
Seattle.
long ago was that, dude? Guy's back wouldn't even operate. Come on, dude. Come on.
The Dallas,
He couldn't catch a football because his back was broken. What do you want from me?
It's a
Like,
spinal.
Come on, bro. Jesus.
Dude, I'm telling you now. Tony Romo's back or not, the Dallas Cowboys don't win. They don't. And until until Dak and Zeke do, there's nothing to talk about. Whether
Back is broken.
Yeah, your back is broken, whatever. And my guess is that much like Jimmy Dolan, this is a problem with Jarrah. Jarrah's too involved as an owner, I'm telling you. But I think if I
look at that Patriots color scheme. Come on, bro.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Red jersey, white helmet. Like, it's beautiful, man.
I think the Texans have a beautiful alternate helmet. Anyway, I think the Bengals white with the black tiger stripes.
It's
that's
fresh.
tough
It's
to
fresh.
beat.
It is tough
But
to beat.
It's like a 76 El Camino. That Arizona Cardinals flake paint job on that helmet.
Yeah, it's
It's
incredible.
unfortunate you won't see Kyler Murray because he's hidden behind the offensive line and stuff. But I think that's one of the worst contracts in the history of the NFL was the one they gave.
Brutal,
Kyler
bro.
Murray.
Brutal.
Like terrible.
Brutal.
Terrible.
What are the people saying?
Terrible. Let's see. NY Jazz fan says the Browns' poop brown has always been tasteful. Okay. I mean, that's fine. Josh Lovren says Cards got a new helmet, yet they are wearing the same uniform since 2000. And it's not even a great uniform.
No, it's not. It's not.
Snooka! Jets alternate helmet read MILF on the side.
Yeah, we're focused on the Jets today.
Savage, bro.
MILF! That would be amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Oh, my. Speaking of fire hose, my God. Can you imagine? Greg Hawkins says the Dallas Cowboys are the University of Texas Longhorns of the NFL. Yes, they are.
Think that's HIPAA?
They're a winning team. No, they're not.
They go to the playoffs. It's more than you could say about other teams.
My mom goes to the playoffs. Does that make her a winner? No, my mom's a loser. Are you kidding?
I'm sorry if you're offended by that.
What happened?
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
Brett Robbins says the Texans look fire.
They
yes,
do.
They do.
Are
Absolutely.
we, quick question on the Texans. Are we ready to, put the Deshaun Watson thing in the past as far as the Texans are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, they settled. They did what they had to do. I mean, it doesn't make them
So
not
we're
guilty.
But we're good. We're good moving on from that now. We can watch Texans football without obsessing over Deshaun. I know. That's the problem. I'm never going to watch Browns football the same.
The Texans, the McNair family, in my opinion, they have acted horribly.
Yeah.
Through the racist accusations, like, I'll never respect the Texans.
Yeah.
The Deshaun Watson thing's over. I mean, like, that's done.
Yeah.
So, but when I look at Deshaun Watson, what do you think he's getting?
8 games.
I think he's got to get. I think he's getting 8 games.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's
Half a
nearly
season.
enough. I really don't think. I think it should be an entire season.
Yeah. Well.
He should be off the field for an entire season.
Yeah.
It's up to 30 women now, at a minimum. Like, what do we? Come on, like at 30, and you're just going to suspend him for half a game, half a season.
I'll have to figure something out.
Come on. By the way, real quick, NFL Sunday Ticket allegedly moving to YouTube TV.
Mm-hmm.
Just your initial thoughts. I'm a huge Sunday Ticket guy. There is nothing I'd rather do than fire up the Traeger smoker on a Sunday.
I want it.
Bang some wings and pizza.
Whoa.
Well, Zach Wilson's mom's friend and stuff.
Are people myriad?
Fire up the Traeger.
Fire up the Traeger, and then there's nothing better than flipping around and watching NFL football all day.
Okay, here's the thing that I don't love about this. For a DirecTV customer like you and I, this is another subscription fee we're going to have to pay. Don't love that. Don't love that. Do not love that.
Me and you.
Right. Okay, sure. Whatever.
For DirecTV customers like you and me, I don't love it. I don't love it. And I'm a huge DirecTV guy. Are you going to buy Sunday Ticket through YouTube TV? And here's a larger question for you. Pull up your undies here, boys. Would a deal like this, would a YouTube TV style deal save the Pac-12? I think this is a huge question. And I think it's one that's got to get answered because we continue as we head for Pac-12 Media Day, which is now just 3 days away.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to get news on the Pac-12 this week? And the question I think that remains is what can the Pac-12 do to survive? And would a TV deal like one with YouTube TV be enough to save the Pac-12? Now, if you go back to 2018, 2019 perhaps, at Pac-12 Media Day, Larry Scott sat right in front of you and me on this very show and said, oh, yeah, we're working on it. We're in the heart of Silicon Valley. We're talking.
Yeah, it's going to get done.
It's going to get done, and it didn't get done.
By the way, that's on our YouTube channel. Go find it.
It is. It's in our archives. If you go back and look at Pac-12 Media Day, Larry Scott is there.
Yeah.
But my point is, I don't think that's enough to save the Pac-12. If you are the 10 teams that are left after USC and UCLA leave, and I'm not saying that's the case, but let's surmise that it'll be those 10 teams. And you do a $1 billion deal with YouTube TV. You're telling me that that's going to get you $100 million a school per year? No, it's not. It's not. Because I think we all recognize that that's limiting your audience, and it is a specialty platform. And you are now, if you are the Pac-12 about to be Pac-10, you missed the curve on doing a digital deal like this.
Yeah.
That was 2020. That was 2017 when you should have done a deal with YouTube TV, when you should have done a deal with Amazon Prime, because nobody watches Pac-12 Network. Nobody knows how to watch Pac-12 Network.
Yeah.
Most people can't get Pac-12 Network.
And nobody is going to put in the time and effort to go and figure it out. That's the problem. That's the thing here. Like, when people weren't going to football games because of the thing we're not allowed to talk about, that was the window. Hey, listen, nobody can come to our games right now. We need to get on their cell phone. We need to get on their iPhone 13 Pro Max. We need to get on their Android. We've got to be there. They have to be able to easily consume the content that we're putting out. And that, to me, was what was so disappointing. It wasn't disappointing to me that Larry Scott basically lied to us at Pac-12 Media Day. It wasn't disappointing to me that this conference has been going the wrong way for several years. I have no allegiance to the Pac-12, but what is disappointing to me is Larry Scott's poor decision-making is costing programs like Utah their livelihood. Utah is now in a place where they have to figure out, where the hell am I going to go? Like, are we getting to the Big 12? Are we trying to somehow make some entrance into the SEC? Like, what are we going to do? Like, everything's on the table. And that's why I say when we talk about saving the Pac-12, the issue for the Pac-12 has always been that it's very difficult to find your product. And I'm not going to get, Pac-12 network on Dish. I'm not doing that. I want it on my smartphone so that I can get it anytime I want. That's the world we live in. That's why the show is growing so much. That's why when we make this crazy announcement on Friday, it's going to blow your mind, right? Like, because it's right here. It's here on your phone, in your hand every day.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that college football has forgotten.
Yeah.
I think that's something that college football needs to understand. Greg Hawkins gives us a $5 tip. Greg, appreciate you very much. He says Pac-12 research money dwarfs athletic money by order of magnitude 10 times. The conference will not fold, but they need to increase their athletic revenues in order to become competitive. I don't disagree with that. And I think Greg, I think your point's exactly right. I mean, and I think we've always known this, but the priority is not winning sporting events in the Pac-12. For Pac-12 presidents and institutions, Stanford is no better example than this. They don't care about your ability to throw a football. They care about your ability to become a research practitioner, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer. That's the bottom line. At USC, I think they're a bit of an outlier. But I also think at a school like USC, they want you to become a major Hollywood director more than they want you to become a major NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. Well, we all know that USC doesn't put NFL quarterbacks out, but that's not really the point.
Right.
The point is, I agree with Greg Hawkins. The priorities in the Pac-12 are not to win football games. Is that right? Is that noble? Is that in line? I don't flip and know. In the parlance of this conversation, it's broken for college football. And I think ultimately it could lead to the exodus of a very good educational institution in Utah. Facts. And probably Washington and Oregon. And I again don't understand how the Pac-12 is going to survive.
Yeah.
The only way the Pac-12 survives, and the only way you take a step to survival, is today, right now, you add San Diego State. That's the first step. And the second step is, I think you have to go and find a way to poach a team from another conference. I think if you're going to add a Boise State, if you're going to add, you better go and do it, because there's nothing. And even if you add San Diego State and Boise State, you add the blue turf.
I want it.
I don't know that that's enough to get the deal done to make you viable as a conference.
Yeah.
I don't know that it is. And I don't feel like the Pac-12 can survive, because, John Wilner at the Bay Area News Group, I thought, put out a really smart piece about Pac-12 After Dark being a very viable commodity. And I think it is. Honestly, I think Saturday night football, not Friday night football, Saturday night football in the Pac-12 is very viable. It's very valuable. It puts a million eyeballs on the television, and you can argue, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. It's not a matter of argument. It's not does it. It's performed at a very high level, and we've seen some really good football. But it doesn't matter. You get a million people because it's the only game in town.
Yes.
The SEC's done playing football at that hour. Everybody else is done playing football. They're back at the dorm. They're back at the office. And you get Utah and Oregon. You get Kalen Clay dropping the football at the 1 yard line.
God.
Right? Like, you get moments like that are absolute insanity. You get big upsets. You get BYU and Arizona State.
Yep.
And what I'm telling you is, you get a million viewers. There's commodity. There's value in that. And if I'm the Big 12, I'm trying to take that value by adding Oregon and Washington and San Diego State and Utah and Colorado and anybody else that wants to come with, because I want that late game window. That's how I get to Fox. That's how I partner with Notre Dame and do a TV deal with, NBC to get Notre Dame remains independent. And there was this story last week that Notre Dame had kind of, smittens with each other, where Notre Dame and the Big 12 would go to NBC and say, hey, Notre Dame football wrapped around Big 12 football makes you money. You can pay.
You guys ever want to kick it, we'll flow.
Notre Dame, $75 million a year for their football contract. And then you can pay the Big 12 $100 million a school for their football contract. That's how deals get done. Is Notre Dame working with NBC on a Pac-12 deal? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Does Pac-12 After Dark mean that Notre Dame makes $75 million a year? Methinks not. Does BYU and Utah, the late game in the NBC window after Notre Dame, make you a ton of money and bring 5 million viewers to the screen? Yeah, it does. Does a Rose Bowl rematch between Ohio State and Utah bring 16 million people to the show? Yeah, it does. See what I'm saying? Like, Where is Utah legit? I think it was 16 million people watched the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Where's that number in the Pac-12 today? It's got to be USC and somebody else, right? It has to be. Who's the somebody else? Because you're not an attractive property to schedule against, which is the other thing that nobody talks about. What SEC school is breaking down the doors in the Pac-12 outside of, hey, we need a win? Better call the Pac-12. Like, in all honesty, what SEC team, what even ACC team is banging down the door of a Pac-12 school saying, hey, man, we need to get a future series on the books? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Now that USC and UCLA have left the Pac-12 for the Big Ten, now what? Because Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC and the Big 12 survived because they were able to add a property like a Houston, like a BYU. They were able to add a Cincinnati. They were able to add teams. Pac-12 hasn't been able to do that yet, Jake, and I don't think they're going to be able to.
Yeah, and I think that they're basically going to need a handout to be able to survive, honestly. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's what it's going to take. You're going to need help. You're going to need assistance. And again, I'm just going to keep saying it. This is the price you pay for not bringing in revenue. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. Fat Jesus, good morning to you, friend. He says, prediction ASU wins the Pac-12, the Pac-2 in 2025. Forks up.
Bet you weren't expecting this one.
How sad is Herm
You see
Edwards?
what he did there? You see what he did there?
Pac-2.
The Pac-2.
You know, they'll be independent.
Yeah.
They'll only play each other 9 times a year.
Right.
It's a sad situation in Arizona State. What's going on with Arizona State football and Herm Edwards and
it's not great.
I don't even know how you explain that. Honest to God. I don't know how you explain that.
And as you can see, I'm going through some shit right now.
Cam Harrison says Pac-12 should sign a TV deal with Peacock TV.
I don't know, man.
Good luck.
I think it's got to be more major than that. I think it's got to be more substantial than that.
But see, my point is, we already know that the Big 12 and Notre Dame have been trying to do something.
Well, it makes sense.
But
for them.
If it puts you on NBC, it puts you on USA Network, it puts you on the Peacock app. Like, you have avenues. Like, that's a TV deal.
That's better than Dish Network. I can tell you that with all due respect. It is better than Dish Network and Pac-12 Network.
Yeah. Greg Hawkins says people watch Pac-12 schools when they actually play on a real network on a normal time slot. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If you're stuck on the Pac-12 network after dark, it's the kiss of death. It's over. It's over. It's absolutely over. NY Jazz fan says you might start to see NCAA football create their own streaming in the future for fans that cannot get the teams. I think you have to.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Fat Jesus says, I think Pac-12 After Dark exists on the internet. $9.99 a month from what I hear from a friend of a source.
Yeah, you're talking for a friend, right?
Could be. NY Jazz fan says maybe they already do. BYU TV. Could be. Absolutely could be. Brett Robbins says, deal is ready to go if the Knicks give 6 picks. I would agree with that. Wow, a lot of Nick. Okay, Nick Time, the Nick of Time show. DM not going to Miami. Donovan Mitchell's not going to Miami right now. The Nick of Time also says they threw Miami in the rumors like they throw the Knicks in every damn rumor. The Knicks and the Jazz are talking. It's not a rumor. It is not a rumor, in my opinion. All right. Let's burn the house down with our non-sports stories of the day.
It's time.
Because I am a phenomenal driver of cars.
Right.
I think that's been established with my twin-turbo V6 Audi SQ69er.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Where I was banging Zach Wilson's mom's best friend. Wait, that was a dream. That was
it?
That was actually not.
Was it a dream?
Factually accurate.
Okay.
I just woke up and the sheets were wet. Anyway,
whoa.
The point is, hey,
whoa.
No, I'm kidding. Yes. yes.
Whoa.
I am totally kidding. Let's talk about driving. So we went up to the good old Brady Papinga stomping grounds, B-Pop, of Evanston, Wyoming yesterday, and got absolutely run over by the wafting of manure smells. Because they were giving something away in Evanston yesterday, and it was probably my marriage after the drive home.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
We'll get to that in a minute. But it was packed. There were more dudes with ATVs and cowboy boots and manure on their tires than I've ever seen. I don't know why I'm talking like that.
Because it's fun.
Then stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a crowd like I've never seen. On the way there, it was fine. It was fine. On the way back, there was a little more traffic.
What?
So we get to Camas.
Yeah.
Hello, Camas. And we get to Camas, and there's this dude pulling a boat. Or whatever he was. He might have been an ATV.
ATV.
NTV, your mom.
Right.
Good morning, Mrs. Monty.
Hi.
Who I should probably leave her ISO'd up in this situation because she's the one who had the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So we're driving home, and this dude's doing like 60 in an 80.
Right.
In the left lane.
Whatever.
So we pass a semi. I pop out into the right lane, and I try to pass him. He floors it.
Oh, okay.
To cock block me because there's another truck in front of me. So I have to slow down. I move back behind him. And then he slows down to 40 miles an hour in an 80 mile an hour zone.
Right.
40 miles an hour.
Okay.
And eventually he speeds up, moves over because it was clear I was going to pass him no matter what.
Right.
So finally he moves over to the right. And we're driving by him and he's flipping me off.
Right.
So I do what all men need to do.
Yeah.
I get in front of him, and I forgot where the accelerator was.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
What?
It happens.
What?
I was emaciated.
What?
I had a lack of water. I was dehydrated.
I'm screwed.
Like I was running a fever.
Right.
It was Thursday after a Tuesday on a Sunday preceding a Wednesday.
Right.
The vernal equinox and shit. Like,
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
So I had moved over. And I may have found the brake a little bit instead of the accelerator,
What?
which was a total accident.
What?
Mind you, friends,
The opposite of full.
you know, we're only doing 50 miles an hour, and they tapped the brakes on accident thinking it was the accelerator. And he may have lost his mind behind us. And you don't look happy, Mrs. Monty. What seems to be the problem?
So the NASCAR driver thought that,
Hi, how are you?
yeah, thought that, he was on the track at Pocono and that he needed to dive and weave in and out of the traffic. It's a long time of a 2-lane highway, which no one appreciates when it's filled up with semis, RVs, toy haulers, trucks, and people pulling things that are way too heavy that limits their ability to go fast. And that guy had to just dive and weave until he met the other a-hole who decided he didn't want anybody to dive and weave, and then that he would hold us back. And then once it was open, it wasn't enough that the guy was over it and moved over. He was done. Like, he must have blown his load, and he was finally
his load.
Wow.
because he finally moved over so we could go around. And instead of just going past and moving on with life,
You flipped him the bird.
Yes.
he flipped me the bird. I flipped him the bird.
But you admit that you did partake in the situation.
But that should have been the end of it. That should have been the end. You end it on the bird, think you bye, and you go. No. We had the NASCAR driver decides to. It wasn't just that he moved over to the right. He dove. He dove towards the front of this gentleman's truck.
I'm going to do
who's
that.
pulling an ATV on a trailer and slowed down to where I thought he was almost going to stop. Slowed down so much, I thought, holy fuck, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. And does it enough until the other guy is so angry and terrified, then he finally pulls off.
First of all, I didn't pull off. I hit the accelerator and the twin turbo kicked in and we zoomed away from Dick.
And when I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
But listen, the point is, nobody was ever in danger. There was not it wasn't a road rage situation.
Here's what's going to happen, Tonto.
It's not like I was running him off the road. I didn't even brake check him, and I could have. I got in front of him and I slowed down to prove a point. I don't know what the point I was proving was, but it made me feel better.
You were just as big of an asshole that he was.
Well, that is probably a point that was driven home.
Y'all feel me?
I just don't see the purpose in it, and it's not safe. I know that you feel like it was. It's not safe.
There was
what
never.
If his tire
there was.
blew?
Right,
there's
but
things that can. What if someone behind him wasn't prepared for your gigantic brake check?
But they
and runs in the
but
back. Yeah, but they didn't.
Happen.
But that's the thing. Like, you can't just go around going like, "Oh, made it through."
Never.
Did something really, unsafe. Made it through each time. Like, it just wasn't helpful.
Yeah.
You
See, Giggity has it right. You should have added a little wiper fluid shower to that clown. I'm not. Brett Robbins
Giggity?
says Schumacher Montemayor. Exactly right. And
no, it's like
Jazz.
Logano Montemere.
Much more
Denny.
Joey Logano.
Denny.
No.
It was totally like a Joey Logano, like, I'm going to drive you into the wall kind of a move.
Yeah, Ross Chastain. We get it. NY Jazz fan says, I'm from Camas, Utah. Shout out to K-Town.
Yeah.
Place I left at 18 years of age and never looked back. Like all smart men do.
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, you should have bought that house back when you were 20 because now it's worth 10 times the amount in Camas.
Yeah. Tanner says, is that a Utah Grizzlies jersey behind Mrs. Monty? No, it's an RSL sweater, isn't it?
Yeah. It's an RSL sweater.
Right? I mean, it is a Utah Grizzlies jersey behind Mrs. Monty. So, I mean, there's no, what are the, okay.
Driving etiquette.
Admittedly, I feel like I'm a good driver. I feel like 9 days out of 10, I drive an Audi SQ5. It is fast. It is, I enjoy driving it, but I don't regularly drive it crazily. Like, I'm not the guy that's always driving 80 or
Since when are you not? When? Because I'm pretty sure that even on 114th, you are bobbing and weaving out of traffic constantly.
But what's wrong with, I always do that though. Why should I sit?
There's never a relaxing drive in the car with Monty. There's never a relaxing drive.
Because you're a nervous Nelly. You drive the speed limit. I am not the speed limit guy. I'm not the guy that's like, okay, the right lane.
Because I don't always drive the speed limit either.
Yeah, for the most part.
But what I don't do is dive in and out all the time, like whipping around people. They don't even have enough time to react to you.
Isn't that the point? Isn't the point to
but if they all of a sudden start to, like, they want to go over and they're expecting everyone else is going the same speed as them, and then speed demon comes up, they don't even have time to react.
But nobody expects you. Listen, I think it's not like I'm not going to say out loud that because then I'll get a ticket, but it's not like I get tickets left and right. It's not like I think I've been in one accident in my adult life. I think I feel like I'm a good driver, and I think, yes, I change lanes all the time. I'm not the guy that sits behind like, hey man, it's the right lane's open and you're going 40, I'm going to pass you. It's not like I'm doing 80 down the street. Like, we joke about it all the time. I'm not the guy that like gets on Bangor Highway and I'm doing 100 miles an hour every time. Like,
not every time. It's like,
very occasionally. I just don't, I don't know. I think you're a very conservative driver, and I don't own a performance vehicle to drive it, old man style. Like, I don't know. You drive with me more than she does. Am I a good driver or a bad driver?
No, I mean, I think you're a fine driver. You do drive aggressively. I drive aggressively, but I don't think that's some knock. I think, listen, the conversation is you have to know who your passenger is. It just is that simple.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, that's just, it's not a knock to say some people are, like, there are times where I don't, like, outside of you driving the car, nobody else drives a car except for me. Right? Like, that's the only time I'm ever a passenger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I just think that I know, here's the thing. I know where you're going because I would make the same move. Like, that's why I'm not nervous about it. That's that. But it's just different. I think it's a perspective thing. Yes. Is brake checking safe? Probably not. Do I understand why you did it? Yes, on some level, I get it. I do not appreciate RV guy in the carpool lane. In fact, I think that should be enforced more heavily than it is, because that's unsafe in its own right.
But where's the law? And this is the problem with the lack of law enforcement on our roads nowadays.
Yeah,
it's a 2-lane freeway. It's I-80. It's 2 lanes, right?
Mm-hmm.
He literally is not allowed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
He is you are not allowed to be there by law. And dude is just camped out in the left and then gets upset when people move to the right to pass him.
That I will never understand. If you're polling something, why are you upset that
why
people
are you in the left
you?
lane?
And he really did. Like he put his foot down so hard on that gas to try and get it to go fast as he could until he could get pulled up next to the RV that was in the right-hand lane.
Like, why do you care if I pass you if you're pulling something going? It's an 80-mile-an-hour zone.
I have empathy for guys who, like, if you're pulling something, you're in the right lane, you're pulling something, and you come up on something in the right lane that's slower than you, and you need to get around that. Okay, I understand. You got to jump out when you get your opportunity, and that may result in you cutting someone off or whatever. I kind of empathize with that. I'm cool with that. But the portion where he's, like, slowing down intentionally, okay, well, if that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. You know?
Yeah, but it was not something where, A, this was not my fault. B, this was not road rage by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, to me, I think when you slow down on a freeway, you're doing 40 in an 80.
Yeah.
You're creating a traffic hazard.
Mm-hmm.
No, I may have created one at some point in my life too, but it wasn't yesterday.
But like 5 minutes later.
Dop Hop says when he slowed down to 40, he obviously sealed his own fate. I would agree with that. Here's a loaded question. Jeez. Jeremy Severe says, who are the worst drivers in America? Well, I think it's young people and old people. I think experience matters. Like we saw a guy yesterday. Check this shit out.
Yeah.
Like we're driving home and there are people like this one lady.
There was a lot of people on the road.
Driving like idiots, right? There's a guy and I don't remember where he was driving. I don't remember what road it was, but he's driving with doing this. This old dude is like covering his left eye.
I don't understand why.
And swerving. And going 20 and then speeding up and doing like 80. What are you doing, bro?
I think what I would say about driving is there's just not enough education around it. I think people don't know.
It's too easy
like
to get a
how
license.
to. Yeah, I mean, I think people don't know how to effectively drive in bad weather. I think they don't know. Like there's too many people on their phone while they drive, which is one of the reasons I love driving stick because you don't have time. Like that's
Yeah, I can't stand. It's a major pet peeve of mine. If you own any car that was made within the last 20 years, you likely have Bluetooth. Stop holding this is like the worst thing. You're in a brand new Range Rover and you're driving like this. Hi, honey. Yeah, I know. And you half your face is blocked because you won't put it on Bluetooth in your car.
We almost got hit by the lady at Chipotle the other day. Pulling into Chipotle on Saturday, a lady talking on her phone almost hit us.
Yeah.
And I think that happens more. And I don't see how, I mean, you will disagree with me because Mrs. Monty always disagrees with me.
Right.
We almost get hit being legal, normal, not asshole type drivers more than anything else. Like just driving, there are so many people.
Well, I think but that's the situation. People are in a calm state. You're doing 40 down 104th, and you're like, yeah, we're just kind of chilling here. We're just cruising. Like there's not much happening. So they feel the need to get on their phone, and then you start drifting. You like that, and that's what I think happens. And that's why I say I would be a huge fan of, hey, if the car's going over 10 miles an hour, your phone doesn't work. Like you can't access your phone.
Well, there is car mode. People just
but it's not. It's optional. It's optional.
It's optional.
It needs to be a.
But she's right.
Here's the
Absolutely.
problem. I'm a passenger, and the car is moving at more than 10 miles an hour. Now I can't use my phone.
Yeah.
We're human beings. We have all kinds of tech in the world. We know how to optimize delivering packages. I'm sure we can figure out how to disable cell phones while we're driving. Like
put it on Bluetooth.
I just
put it in a holder.
And the other thing is, once you do it once, your car automatically connects. Why is that so difficult?
Steve Peterson says the windshield wiper fluid would have helped since he, quote, blew his load.
Yeah.
End quote.
I'm just saying, something must have happened that all of a sudden he was able to calm him.
Well, how has it become every day on this show?
What?
Every day on this show, Mrs. Monty will say something like blew his load.
Yes.
And everybody's like, that's it. Like every day on this show, You come up with something that people are like, oh, yeah, she said blue is load.
I love that show.
Like, it is truly amazing.
I'm amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. Brett Robbins. Relaxing is going 60 around hairpin corners, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What is she on about? Yeah. Well, and you also don't like the way I drive in the mountains. I enjoy, like, Immigrant Pass. There are a few better passes to drive. An all-wheel drive.
Immigration. Yes.
Is it immigration?
Whatever the hell.
Canyon.
Yeah, immigration, your mom.
Like, you drive up Big Cottonwood. And when you have space, like, it's a great drive. There's no reason to go 25 miles an hour. There's not. Like, it is, the mountain roads in Utah are phenomenal for driving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, J-Rod says, I drive a Scion TC and I think I'm driving a Ferrari to keep up with traffic. Exactly. That's my guy right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Tanner says, Monty, you consider yourself a good driver. I do.
He is a good driver.
I am a good driver, for sure. Greg Hawkins with a $5 tip says, coming from a country with terrible traffic, the biggest issue with Muricon drivers are, one, we are vindictive, and two, people are using their cell phones way too frequently.
It's fucking America.
Vindictive drivers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
what
accurate.
Happened?
I think
you
that's
were
accurate.
vindictive
I was
yesterday.
not.
Yes.
What?
I was protecting my rights.
If someone cuts you off, you're going to get ahead of them and cut them off.
But I was
Fucking
listen.
So you.
No, I needed to cool off in the slower lane, so I moved over. And then this guy tried to rear end me, so I floored it and stuff. Like, that's how I remember it. Like, what?
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Are you set? What? So that's how I remember it happening. That's not what happened. Giggity says 40 on an 80 is way more dangerous than 100 on an 80. Yes,
Agreed.
it is.
Agreed.
Yes, it
I
is.
agree. The guy was not doing great, but then you went and doubled down on him.
I doubled down on his not greatness. Let's see. Talking with Raphael podcast says slow drivers are dangerous to drive around. Yes, they are. Yeah, they are. Fat Jesus says, coming back from San Diego, I was behind two cars driving next to each other for at least 5 miles. They're going to hell. I agree. I should have the right.
Listen, the art of putting your driver's side tire on the line to have your headlight in someone's mirror is a beautiful thing. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
I'll just say that. It works. I'm telling you, people will move over. They will.
Eric, Giggity says, if you're going 100, you are usually focused on the road more than a guy going 60. Enjoy the scenery. Yeah,
agreed.
I don't disagree with that. I don't. William gives us a $1.99 tip. Thank you very much. If you are here right now, please give us a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. Is that it? I think
that's it, man.
I guess that's the show.
Yeah.
By the way, we went up to Blood Lake over the weekend.
Phenomenal.
No, it wasn't. The mosquitoes on that hike.
Yeah, the mosquitoes were bad, but it was
I'm
a really
paying for
pretty
it.
hike. But I don't think those bites are from Blood Lake.
I think they are.
I got a bite sitting watching TV last night. I think that we let some mosquitoes in.
I've never had that many mosquitoes on me at one time ever. Like, you walk all the way up that trail. It's like 1 point something miles. You get to the top. It's a moderate to hard hike. It's straight uphill for the last half of it. And I am just covered in mosquitoes when you get to the lake. Am I wrong?
It was not straight uphill.
I mean, straight uphill.
No.
In the snow both ways.
Yeah, right. But it was, the mosquitoes are real. Every time you're going to do a hike, you need to look at the hike description. We knew to bring spray. So we sprayed. And then when we were
spray did not work.
Up at top, we sprayed more. And, I sprayed people coming down who didn't have spray.
Yeah, and he sprays people on the freeway.
Yeah,
what's the difference?
With wiper fluid and other fluids and stuff. Don't forget, we are giving away a trip for two to see BYU take on Notre Dame in the Shamrock Series in Las Vegas. It is all brought to you by our good friend Devry Davis at Academy Mortgage. 801-543-9666. NMLS number 278545. Give Devry Davis a call. As I said earlier in the show, if you're the guy sitting here saying, I can't afford to buy a house, why do I need to call a mortgage guy? Because they'll tell you that you can afford to buy a house. They'll give you down payment assistance. Nobody has more programs than Academy Mortgage and Devry Davis. That's why you call him today. 801-543-9666. for Deborah Davis at Academy Mortgage. Until tomorrow, Mrs. Monty, tell everybody I'm a good driver.
Oh my God, you are the best driver. Bye.